George Floyd worked for us. He was an extra employee, an extra security that we called when we needed people above and beyond our kind of core group of securities. If we had a larger event or an event where we especially needed big African American securities that were used to working with the urban crowd, we would bring them in because we were a Latino club, but we were opening our doors to the African American community since they had nowhere else to go. I do remember George just briefly chatting when we would pay him at night, and he was hanging out at the office at the end of the night, and he would always say hello to me and have a really big smile. I remember his big smile, and he was very sweet. He would call me boss lady and give me a big pretty smile, and those are my memories of him. I knew Shaman. I considered him a friend. We would sit and I would invite him for tacos at the end of the night. We'd talk about the events of the night and sometimes talk about how we were, and he didn't open up about his personal life to me or anything like that. I watched the video that a girlfriend sent to me saying, "Hey, this is your cop. This is Shaman." And at first I didn't recognize him, and then I saw a clearer angle, a close up, and I realized, oh my God, that's Shaman. And I just started kind of yelling at him to my phone, saying, "Stop, get off of him. What are you doing? Shaman, get up. What is wrong with you?" You know, I couldn't fathom what I was seeing. I knew that he kind of got into that zone sometimes, that mean cop zone or whatever you want to call it. Like they lose a little bit of the humanity. They go into this power trip and they almost kind of get glossy eyed. And I've seen that before. You know, a lot of people, I think a lot of us have, that's why we're protesting. But it was really hard to see. It was really difficult, and it's something I don't think I'll ever understand. Okay. Then I found out it was George. Shaban was my off-duty police organizer, so in other words, he was kind of the manager that would hire all of the other off-duty officers and, you know, make sure that they were there on the days I needed, at the times I needed, and in the amounts of staff I needed. So we worked very closely for many years. Thought he was a nice guy. Like I said, I've seen things about him that, you know, I may have had to talk to him about that I wasn't in agreement with in the past, but he always took it well as well. And so we had a really good rapport. And, you know, I would have said he was one of the good cops in the 3rd Precinct. You don't have to spray mace to everybody every time any little tiny thing happens. You just go and deal with the 2 or 3 people that are fighting. You don't spray the other 80 people that are out on the street and the women that are there and everything else. But I did see inklings. I saw, you know, just where, you know, sometimes I would feel like going up to him and saying, "That's enough," you know, you don't. But they're police officers, and that's, you know, they have the authority, and it's an abuse of power, and they all have that in them. I've seen it in all of them, and like I said, he was one of the better ones. I've seen much worse come in and work for us, and there were certain cops I told Shaban, "Hey, I don't want that guy working for me. I don't want him on my beat," and you know, so. At the same time, yes, I would say they most likely did, because Shaban almost always worked our beat unless he was on vacation. You know, Shaban also often had other officers there on Tuesdays, because I don't think he particularly liked working our Tuesday night African-American promotion that we were doing. It was hard to staff that night. The officers liked doing our Latino nights. They didn't always seem to want to jump up and volunteer and do our Twerk Fest Tuesday nights. I think they were afraid that there might be shootings or big fights that they weren't going to be able to handle. I sensed a little bit of fear.